quick announcement before I get on with the video. Last week, Excultbaby invited me to join in on a fun trivia game with Atheist T-Girl. I'll put up a card in the corner and a link to the video in the description below. I should have talked about my collab with Excultbaby in my last video, but I work on my videos over the weekends and make any final changes during the week before they go up, which means I'm always about a week behind. Anyway, make sure you check out that video and also Excultbaby and Atheist T-Girl's channels, and let's get on with this video. I know that many wonder why atheists spend so much time talking about and hating God if they don't even believe in him, or her, or it, or them. This question is worthy of its own video, and many atheists have already addressed it. But simply put, atheists engage in conversation about religion for the purpose of impacting the world for good, specifically to eliminate the harmful effects that religion can and has had on society as a whole and on individuals. I personally don't want to challenge every religion, but every harmful religion and every poor method of thinking with the potential to cause harm. As I've said, and I'll say again, I'm not here to steal your faith. If we atheists are well-intentioned, for the most part, why is it that theists often see us as hating God and religion and think we're out to get them? I think a lot of it has to do with the way in which atheists engage with theists online. Like my father always told me, it's not always what you say, but how you say it that matters. I understand that, especially if you've deconverted, talking about religion can be an emotional topic that triggers feelings of anxiety, anger, and even hate. In spite of that, many of the atheists I know are motivated by compassion, empathy, and love, and that's why they want to have these difficult conversations, regardless of associated negative emotions. In order for atheists to achieve the goal of not just challenging harmful beliefs, but changing the minds of those who hold them, I think it's critically important that we leave a good impression. Rather than harshly criticizing others for holding bad beliefs and creating division, we want to create bonds and facilitate cohesive action. That's why, when it comes to trying to have a conversation about religion and belief, I believe an atheist must always communicate it in a respectful manner. The difficulty here is that what constitutes respectful can be a matter of perspective or opinion, and even circumstance, and that can cause problems for even the best intentioned of atheists, even more so for those who have a bold or sarcastic personality, and the atheist community has a lot of those. I think engaging in conversation is not only valuable, but crucial to solving the biggest problems and answering the biggest questions we face today. It's ideas, after all, that make us human. So to facilitate respectful and productive dialogue, I'd like to recommend a few ways atheists, and quite frankly anyone who engages in conversation on controversial topics, can do so in good faith. This is good faith atheism. When engaging in these conversations, try to assert only things that you know and that you can demonstrate, and be open to new information. I can tell you from experience that few things are more embarrassing than being called out on your BS. Getting caught talking about something you don't really know isn't only embarrassing, but it reduces the trust that other people have in you. Trust is important for leaving a good impression, but even more important is being truthful. In a recent video, Mr. Atheist talked about making claims and citing sources he didn't actually know.
I used to just make up science. And I know a good number of theists who have become atheists admit to the same, and there's a good number of theists out there now who don't realize they're doing the same thing too, or maybe they do know, but they think when they say things with such confidence and fervor and feeling like the Holy Ghost is telling them to say so, that it must be true, which is how I justified a lot of it.
Though Mr. Atheist says he used to do this when he was a theist, invalid assertions are not exclusive to the religious. On occasion, I have taken liberties with my own claims since deconverting, and I'm not proud of that. If you assert things you don't know, you hinder your own ability to discover what's really true, and you become a hindrance to others in the same way. When you become aware that you have made a false assertion or one that you cannot validate, it's important that you correct or redact it. I don't mean that you should hide your mistakes, but that you should always strive to spread truth and correct misinformation. Of course, the best option is to prevent the misinformation in the first place. At Faithless Forum this year, Shannon Q said, "I'm not roaming around the internet telling people that I'm right. I'm roaming around the internet to figure out if I am." Not only should you be mindful of the things you assert, you should also be open to new information that allows you to adapt your opinion to the facts that are available to you. As the information you have access to increases, the assertions you make should be more accurate and hopefully more helpful to you and those you interact with. As a result, you will be both more trustworthy and convincing. In addition to making claims, you should also ask questions, and ask them with no ill intent. When I say ask with no ill intent, I mean you should ask questions with the intention to understand what a person is saying, not to lead them into a trap and catch them in their words. If you truly listen to what a person is saying, you will find two things: the things they are right about and the things they are wrong about. If you're able to identify each, you will find that you can learn something valuable from just about anybody, but you will also naturally find the faults in their logic, and you can challenge those faults without trying to bait them into a trap. When you truly take the time to listen to somebody, rather than impose a flaw in what they say, it shows. People will be more open with you and more receptive to your perspective if they can tell you are sincere in your intentions. When trying to listen to someone, make sure to focus on understanding their belief, understanding their argument, and try to steelman their position rather than strawmanning it. By truly understanding them and even going so far as to represent their position in its best light, you demonstrate the sincerity they are looking for and show that you are not afraid to take the argument head on. If you challenge them at their best, you show integrity and confidence on your end, and the result of your conversation will likely be more meaningful to everyone involved. However, I don't mean that you should be naive in the way that you deal with another person's beliefs or arguments. You should simply do your due diligence in understanding their position. Telltale shared an example of doing due diligence with people of different opinion in a video he made titled, "When is it okay to shun people?"
Dan Savage, a famous gay podcaster, says when you come out as gay, you should expect stupid, offensive questions. You should expect people to not get it at first. Give them a year. If they still don't get it after that time, that's when you start shunning for your own emotional well-being.
I know the circumstances of Telltale's example are specific, but it demonstrates a sort of good faith attitude. You give the person a chance to express themselves and time to clarify what they mean. If you've done your part but you reach an impasse, then it's probably time to move on. But if you've done your due diligence in listening and understanding, you're far more likely to leave a positive impression and less likely to run into dead ends, even though they will inevitably happen. When entering into discussions on belief, it's also important to understand the nature of belief. Belief is not necessarily founded on good reason, nor does it have to be. A belief is held when one is convinced of a certain proposition. I, and many other atheists, don't want to take away anybody's right to belief or religion, but to preserve that very right along with other essential rights that all people are entitled to. Shannon Q explained it very well on the Non Sequitur show about a week ago.
If I want people to have free reign of thought and free choice of thought, I would be hypocritical and contradictory to my own principles if I told them that what I think about how the world should exist and how they should think is better than how they currently do. So I would never press that button because I want people to come to these conclusions on their own. I don't want that imposition. I would fight to the death so that somebody could retain their religion. But that right to religion ends where my rights and others' rights begin. And I want to fight for everyone.
You are completely entitled to your belief, and although atheists will challenge religious beliefs, we don't want to take away your right to have them. As Shannon pointed out, the line is drawn where belief diverges from acceptable behavior. When beliefs convert into action that infringes on the rights and well-being of others, that belief becomes a harmful one, and one that I and many others will challenge. Shannon actually touched on this too in the same live stream.
One of the reasons that we address the people that we do, and I can't speak for Kyle, but I can speak for myself, is because they're the ones who are actively causing harm. And that's undeniable and undeniable, I should say, and it requires addressing. Us ignoring it would be akin to just standing by and watching somebody be, beat to us.
I have no problem with any belief a person wants to hold. I'll challenge beliefs I disagree with, and I'll be open to hearing positions different from my own. But when a belief becomes harmful, that's when engaging in conversation becomes critical and well worth the difficulty of these kinds of discussions. Understanding belief and being able to draw the line between an acceptable belief and a harmful one is important to facilitating productive conversation. I want to get back to intent for just a minute. I have a lifelong friend who is one of my biggest supporters as I've created this channel. We don't see eye to eye on everything surrounding religion and spirituality, but that doesn't mean that our interactions haven't been incredibly beneficial. He told me once about a friend of his who was atheist. We'll call him Rick. When my friend first told me about Rick, he described him as, and I quote, one of those middle school atheists. Now, you may have no idea what my friend meant by this, and that's perfectly okay. He didn't mean to insult, but he lacked the words to describe what he truly meant. As he described Rick, I realized what bothered my friend so much was Rick's condescending attitude and blatant intention to rip away faith and hope from the religious people he talked to. Rick once told my friend of a time when he told a girl that her religion was pointless, stupid, and that she didn't even believe it was really true. Rick was incredibly proud of his win in the argument and boasted that he'd even made the girl cry. This is not what atheism is about. Atheism is a lack of belief in God, not the position that religious people are stupid, that their beliefs are pointless, and that we want to make girls cry. If you've been hurt by religion, I understand that you may feel the urge to lash out and retaliate against the religion and its followers. To some extent, I think retaliation is okay, so long as it is done in a legal and ethical way. But to condescend to people of different beliefs, especially a child who probably hasn't been granted the opportunity to think for herself, just isn't it, Rick? Hurting people emotionally, spiritually, or physically is not how you create positive change in the world. This is my own personal suggestion. Don't try to steal people's faith. And if you're going to be challenging the beliefs and opinions of others, I would recommend that you take the time to know what your own beliefs and opinions are. Just as I recommended that you put forth the effort to understand opponents in your conversations, you should take the time to know and accept yourself too. When I say know and accept yourself, I mean your own beliefs, your own knowledge, and your own unknowing. Before you can enter any sort of argument or debate in good faith, you have to know what your position is and what limitations you have on being able to support that position. Matt Dillahunty, one of the fiercest atheist debaters in my opinion, recognizes his own position and his own limitations when it comes to knowledge. On the atheist experience, he said,
It doesn't change whether or not we can be reasonably confident. So this is about adjusting our confidence level. I'm an atheist, and by that I mean I'm a non-theist. I am not convinced that a God exists. I am also a weak atheist. I am also a strong atheist in the same way that Jeff is with respect to the gods that I've been presented with. I don't hold a position about gods that I've never been presented with for the same reason I don't hold positions on any concept that I've never evaluated.
Recognizing what you don't know and being open to new information changing your beliefs and opinions is pivotal to having a conversation in good faith. Additionally, I think it's important to challenge one's own belief and knowledge. I know I said that every person is entitled to belief without the necessity of good reason, but I would be lying if I didn't say that beliefs should be based on good reason. Once you've taken the time to figure out what you believe and know, you should take the time to outline why you do. You may find that some of your beliefs have a foundation of solid evidence and reason, but you may also find some lacking. That doesn't mean you can't hold that belief, but indicates that you may need to do some research to see if your belief is justified. Note that I'm not saying to look for evidence that justifies your belief, but look for the evidence concerning your belief and make changes as necessary. You may find that you were wrong, or you may find that your position is valid with some caveats or nuance. At the end of the day, we're working towards increased knowledge to the benefit of all. At least, that's what we're trying to do. To wrap it all up, the suggestions I have for being a good faith atheist are: assert what you know and be open to new information, ask questions with no ill intent, listen, understand the nature of belief and the difference between behavior and belief, know and challenge yourself, and don't try to steal people's faith. I made this video to encourage all those who consider themselves atheist activists to be conscious of the way they promote their activism. As an active atheist myself, I share the same motivations and goals and want to see the cause bring forth good fruits. I really want to see the day when atheists are able to collaborate with groups in different camps, whether that be theists, even polytheists. I'm talking about you, Ocean Keltoy, the secular community, social activists, politicians, and more. If we can be mindful of the way we interact with other communities, I think we'll make friends and connections along the way and amplify the good that we can do. So let's be atheists in good faith. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, Give it a like and subscribe for more content. You can follow me on Twitter at misplaced_faith.